Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Trasher Football. Today we got the top 25 rankings for both the offense and the defense in the College Football 25 video game. Now, this isn't really a breaking news video. We've known about this for a few hours now. I wasn't intending on making a video about it because, everybody would have found out very easily through Twitter and stuff. But I have to make a video because these ratings, in my opinion, I have to make a rant about it. I don't like them. So let's go over offense first. That's what we got first this morning. With number one being the Georgia Bulldogs. I feel like that's a very obvious pick right there. One of the best offenses, one of the best defenses. It's pretty clear Georgia's going to have the highest total overall, so on and so forth. I like the idea of Oregon, Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, LSU, and then we get to Miami, and we'll talk a little bit about Miami real quick. They're a good team. Cam Ward's going to be a good quarterback. I don't think they're deserving of an 89 overall, though. But we get to number 8, and it's the Colorado Buffaloes. Why in God's green earth is the Colorado Buffaloes the 8th highest rated offense in College Football 25? And I understand. These ratings are subject to change, as any part of a video game before it comes out is subject to change. And obviously, they probably will. During the season, I wouldn't be surprised if EA pumps out updates that constantly updates the ratings. Just like what EA does with Madden, I fully expect them to do that in this game. But Colorado, in my God's freaking honest opinion, they do not deserve an 80 freaking 9 overall offense. Listen, I get it. You have Shedeur Sanders. Very, very fine quarterback. He's very good. You have Travis Hunter. He's a very, very great wide receiver. He's on the cover of this video game. But 89 over, oh my God, just give me a second. In 2023, now I'm using this info from @BenScottStevens on Twitter. I'll make sure to put a screenshot up on the screen real quick. Colorado had a scoring average of 28.2 points per game, 57th in the country. A total of 363.6 yards per game, 78 in the country. Now this is understandable. 294.7 passing yards per game. That's number 14 in the country. That's very, very good. I'm not saying anything bad about Shedeur. That's very good. But they had 68.9 yards per game, 133 in rushing yards per game. That was last in the nation. Last season in 2023, there was 133 teams. Colorado finished dead last amongst teams like Hawaii, Akron, Washington State, Sam Houston State, Florida International, Vanderbilt, Temple. I mean, even those teams still had 30 more average yards per game than Colorado. They only had 827 total rushing yards. And if you just look at it as a whole, they finished with the least amount of rushing yards in the entire country. You can't base an entire offense's rating on just the passing. You have to be good on both sides of the ball, or not both sides of the ball, both sides of the offensive ball, if you know what I mean, passing and rushing. You have to be good at both of them if you should be rated, 89 overall and number 8 in the country in the video game? That's not good. That's pretty idiotic. They also were number 56. No. They had 56 sacks allowed, which was 132 in the country. That means there was only one more team that gave up more sacks than Colorado. I think it's time to stop talking about Colorado for now. Move on to another team. The Clemson Tigers. Now, Clemson was a perennial team in the college football playoff era. They've won a couple of natties. They had Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, two iconic college quarterbacks in the ACC. But they've really fallen off over the last couple of years. They've had running back trouble, and I know really Will Shipley was really their only hope on the offense. DJ Uiagalelei transferred, then transferred again. Clemson should not be 87 overall. And now here's another tweet by @Chris_Hummer. He says, Clemson just finished 99th nationally in yards per play, and it ranks 9th overall among offenses in the game. I think he got it wrong, obviously. He said 99th and then 98th, but I think you get the gist. Clemson finished 98th and ranks 10th. In nationally yards per play, that's like the bottom half of just all yards in general. If we just switch it to yards per game, I'm on ESPN, by the way. And then if you want to go to the ACC conference as a whole, Clemson only had 402 yards per game. You want to know what teams had better yards per game? Louisville, Georgia Tech, Miami, and North Carolina. If you want to go with passing yards per game, Clemson finished behind Louisville, Virginia, Florida State, Miami, and North Carolina. If you want to go rushing yards per game, they finished behind Louisville, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Boston College, and Georgia Tech. I mean, it's really, I don't want to say embarrassing, because I don't want to hate, because, I want to be optimistic for this game, but I also don't want to sound like an EA shill. A lot of people have called me that before. I'm okay with that. That's your opinion. But, if you're going to rank somebody this high, you better have evidence to back it up. And EA claimed in today's Campus Huddle blog article, saying that they worked with Pro Football Focus over years of data and all these games and stats, and this is what they came up with. And then if you look through the rest of the top offenses, and I guess some of these make sense. Ole Miss maybe might be too low. Kansas maybe too high. Goodness gracious. Arizona's good. North Carolina State maybe needs to be lower. And then you see Memphis. A Group 5 team made the top 25 highest offenses, which is cool. Memphis might be one of the better dynasty rebuilds that you can do in the game if you want a high-octane offense. Then you see SMU, UCF, Florida State, Oklahoma, Virginia Tech, and USC. That's fine. But when you move over to the defensive side, okay, you have Ohio State and then Georgia, which I respect a lot. Those are undoubtedly the two best defenses in the country. Then you have Oregon, Alabama, and then you have Clemson, which they did have a good defense last year, I will admit. Notre Dame, and then Michigan. And this brings me back to the offense. Where's Michigan on the offense? Where's Tennessee? Where are all of these better offenses that should be ranked higher than Virginia Tech, Memphis, FSU, or SMU, UCF, Kansas? They really just threw the craziest list together that they could. And then you see back at the defense, Texas, Penn State, Utah, Florida State, Oklahoma, Iowa, which makes sense. They had one of the better defenses in the country last year. Virginia Tech, Wisconsin might be a little bit of a pick right there. And then USC, 86 overall defense for USC, better than their offense. EA literally in the stats thinks USC had a better defense, or is going to have has a better defense than an offense. Did you guys not see the absolute atrocity of a defense that USC had last season? If you look at yards per game in the entire of the Pac-12 last season, they finished third to last in yards per game, and finished third to last in total defensive yards, yards allowed at least. And then they finished halfway in the conference in passing yards total, and then halfway in the passing yards per game. And then in the rushing, they finished dead last in allowing total rushing yards. And they also allowed the most rushing yards per game at 183. 183. They also gave up the second most points in the Pac-12, right in front of Stanford, right behind Colorado. That's embarrassing if you're going to want to put USC in the top 25 defenses and then call their defense better than the offense. And then if you look at points allowed per game, 34.9. That's basically 35 points allowed per game. A team that allows 35 average per game should not be ranked number 16 in the top 25 defenses in the country. They should not have a better defense than LSU, Texas A&M, Louisville, even the Florida Gators, who had a very bad defense last season, who was ranked number 25. And I'm a Gators fan, and at least I'm not idiotic to know that USC should not be ranked above Florida. But ladies and gentlemen, USC's defense being ranked is not even my biggest gripe, because if you go down just a few more, trickle down the list to number 20, it's Colorado, who had an even worse defense in the Pac-12, or at least around the worst of USC. If you go back and look, Colorado had the second worst total defensive yards in the country last season, 5,440 total allowed points. If you look at yards per game, they allowed 453.3 yards per game, second worst in the Pac-12 last year. If you look at passing, they finished fourth in the conference, or fourth to last in the conference. If you look at passing yards per game, third to last in the conference. And then if you look at total rushing yards, second to last. If you look at yards per game rushing, also second to last. And then if you look at points total, third to last, and then the average of points allowed per game, only 0.1 points less than USC. 34.8 to USC's 34.9. Statistically, points allowed, Colorado would be above USC. USC and Colorado do not deserve to have 86 and 84 overall defenses. EA, you still have 3 weeks to change this. And I want everyone to know, I have had very high expectations for this game, and I still do. Which, I mean, EA, I know you said it's subject to change. Change it. Honestly, I'm okay with the fact that there's no 98, 99, 97 overall offenses or defenses. I'm okay with that. It's kind of more realistic to the fact, because anybody can lose on any given Saturday. I get that. But there's so many things that are wrong with this. And I don't know. There's so many teams that shouldn't have been ranked that are ranked. There's so many teams that should have been ranked that are ranked. They still have time to fix it, obviously. Will they fix it? Probably not. But this was just a little rant. Let me know in the comments down below, which teams do you think got snubbed? Which teams do you think should have been ranked higher or lower, or not be ranked at all? I can't even talk. I'm so mad. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this entire rankings. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn the notifications bell on. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Man, that was... EA, please fix it.